salute.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Post, go.
A day remembering not only military, but first responders. And I mean first responders such as law enforcement, firefighters, EMT.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
We will now have the POWMIA table ceremony.
If I could, get everybody to have their attention focused on the small table right here by our comrade Gunny. The POWMIA Remembrance Ceremony. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our professional arms are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us this evening, so we remember them. This table, set for one, is small, symbolizing the fidelity of one prisoner alone against his oppressor. Remember, the tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country, to call to arms. Remember. The single red rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith awaiting their return. Remember, the red ribbon tied so prominently on the base is remnants of the red ribbon worn upon the lapels and breasts of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to defend a proper accounting of our missing. Remember, the candle is lit. Symbolizing the upward reach of their unconquerable spirit. Remember, a slice of lemon on the breaded plate to remind us of their bitter fate. Remember, there is salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember, the glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this night. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember, all you who serve with them and call them comrades, who depend upon their might and aid and rely upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember, until they come home, remember.
We will now bring forward Mr. Jim McHiller, 7th Ward City Council. Please come forward. He served in the U.S. Army from 1969 to 1970, and he served in Vietnam from July 24, 1969 to August 27 of 1970. He obtained the rank of E5, radio operator. He was awarded the Bronze Star Medal, Good Conduct Medal, first awarded the Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, National Service Defense Medal, and he retired after 31 years from the California State San Bernardino.
Thank you very much. Today we celebrate Memorial Day. Families across America will gather in backyards, firing up barbecues, relaxing, and spending time with people they care about. And maybe not giving the day the true significance it deserves. It's fitting for us to every day pay tribute to men and women who wear the uniform of the United States of America. And there are some days that have been set aside for all of us to do so. Veterans Day is one such day, when we honor Americans who fought under our country's flag. Our calling on Memorial Day, though, is different. On this day, we honor not just those who've worn our country's uniform, but the men and women who've died in its service, who've laid down their lives in defense of its citizens, who've given their last full measure of devotion to protect the United States of America. We should remember that these were mostly young men and women. Someone found that of the 58,000 names on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., 40,000 were aged 22 or younger. They were young and vigorous and impressionable. They hadn't truly lived life yet, or understood what life meant, or what life could hold for them. You know, we so often tend to think of death in very abstract terms, as a distant possibility. Only in rare moments do we realize how close it can be to each one of us at any time. and how everlasting the consequences can be. Michael Sofarelli Jr. found that out in 1987. 30 years earlier, in February 1967, Mike's father, as a young Marine in Vietnam, lost a leg and much of the vision in one of his eyes to an RPG round that landed a few feet from him. Mike Sr. survived and had a family. Now, Mike Jr. always knew that his father had come close to death in Vietnam, but like most of us, he never truly grasped the narrow space that separates life from death until one autumn afternoon in 1987, when Mike Jr. was walking along the National Mall in Washington, D.C., and he took the opportunity to visit the Vietnam Memorial. It was late in the day, and the sun was fading as he approached the black granite wall. Hardly anyone was present. He noticed a man and a young boy, possibly a father and son, pointing to a name on the wall. The man touched the name, and the boy put something on the ground. Mike Jr. watched them walk away, and out of curiosity went over to see what had been left behind at the base of the wall. He noticed a small piece of paper, and reaching down, saw written on it in red crayon, "Happy birthday, Grandpa." At that moment, Mike Jr. realized how precious life is and how quickly it can be taken away. Had that RPG 30 years before been a few inches closer to his father, he would not be standing in front of this memorial. Instead, his father's name would be on it. While I was in Vietnam, my Aunt Doris wrote me regularly, although I hadn't really known her and Uncle Charlie very well before. They lived in northern Illinois, while the rest of our family mostly lived in Iowa and Missouri. But just a few months before I entered the Army, their son, my cousin Donnie, was killed in Vietnam. I didn't fully realize at that time that those letters to me, what they meant in filling a space in a mother's heart for her lost boy. So we must also recognize what the death of those we honor today meant in the lives of those they left behind. Those thousands of empty spaces in countless families. Lastly, in the Vietnam era, there was virtually no recognition of what those deaths meant to those families, the mourning and the suffering. It took almost 2 decades until the Vietnam Memorial Wall was unveiled for national recognition of those sacrifices to come about. In 1968, with this thought in mind, a 24-year-old helicopter pilot from Springfield, Illinois, Major Michael Davis O'Donnell, penned this poem. If you are able, have them a place inside of you, and save one backward glance when you are leaving for places they can no longer go. Be not ashamed to say you love them, though you may or may not have always. Take what they've left and what they've taught you with their dying, and keep it with your own. It took years before the thoughts behind this poem became recognized across the country. Major O'Donnell never returned from Vietnam. He and his crew of 3 were shot down and died during a rescue mission on March 24, 1969. Their bodies were never recovered. And so we continue to await the day predicted in Revelations when it said, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain." Memorial Day gives all of us the precious opportunity to remember and to honor the thousands who gave up their lives to guarantee us the enormous privilege of living in the freest, noblest country in the history of the world. Those young men and women served and sacrificed and left their blood in places all over the globe so that we would have the enormous privilege of saying, "God bless America."
We will now have the laying of the wreath led by Miss Iona Thompson.
Hello, everybody. We have Ashley Johnson. She is going to escort Viola Thomas, who will lay the Gold Star Mother wreath. We'll have Kirsten Tronsky escorting Dorina Hobbs, who's our chaplain of Unit 14. She will lay the puppy wreath. Guadalupe Hernandez will escort Cassidy Coleman, who will lay the junior wreath. And now we'll have Ashley Johnson escorting Peggy Cranford from the DAW, who will lay their DAB. I'm so sorry, Peggy.
Simple thing about the day. When day is done, a figure turns and says a last goodbye. Although we cannot understand where they must go or why. But as they leave our sorrow and our sad tears behind, they move ahead to seek the peace that every soul must find. For know they sail a different ship upon a different sea. A voyage filled with love and hope and a new discovery. And when the journey bring them the distant lighted shore, they'll be greeted by the outreached arms of those who have gone before. The people they have known and loved, and voices from the past will be singing out a welcome news that they are home at last.